In today's video, we're going to be answering your questions off of my Instagram story. A few days ago, I asked you guys what questions you would have for a labor and delivery nurse. And I want to go through them one by one because you guys have really, really good questions. The first question was, how can I get a labor and delivery job as a new grad? This can be hard depending on where you live because certain hospitals don't want to hire new grads on a labor and delivery unit, which I don't really understand because new grads are so eager to learn and they are like sponges, and when you get them from another unit, I feel like they have to unlearn a lot of things. I would really recommend watching my video, how to get hired on labor and delivery, not just to plug my own video, but I really go in depth of how I searched for a labor and delivery job, how I applied to all of them, and what I did for my interview. This video has helped a lot of people, and I think it could help you too. I would say don't settle for anything other than labor and delivery. Even if you have to relocate, working on a unit you don't like will absolutely kill your love of nursing, and I don't want that for you. Really try and even maybe go for hospitals you might not have thought of originally, because you could end up getting some experience and then transferring to a hospital that you actually like. And who knows, you might actually like the hospital that you start at. Next question. Have you seen any patients deliver multiples? Yes, I had my first twin delivery recently, and it was not my patient, but I was working in the OR that day. We do all of our multiples deliveries in the operating room only because if things were to go sideways, literally, we have to do a stat C-section. After the first baby comes out, there's a lot of extra room and babies can flip around, and sometimes if they go sideways, like actually transverse, they can't come out. So you have to really watch these babies and make sure they stay head down. Our twin delivery went pretty well. Mom got the first baby out, and I think there was maybe 20 minutes before the second baby came out. Got the first baby out, and then your cervix starts to close back down, and your cervix is super vascular, and a lot of blood flow is going to it while you're in labor. That's kind of the problem with multiple deliveries. So as the cervix started to close back down and another baby pushed through it, it tore it, and you can lose your entire blood volume very quickly from a cervical laceration. Delivery of multiple babies is very high stakes, and I am like all for natural birthing. After seeing what happened in that situation, even with no interventions, she ended up being just fine, but those babies weren't even term, still tore her cervix. So you just have to really be careful with these multiple deliveries. Sometimes they go absolutely fine, and that's what we hope for. I have yet to see triplets or anything more than that be born, but I'm very excited. Do you see any arguments between family members? Not personally. I've heard of situations, but I've been pretty lucky to not have to like call security. I've had family members yelling at the doctors and nurses before, and that's really hard because we're all trying to do our job. And when you are yelling at someone, you're increasing their anxiety. Even if they know what they're doing, you're making them anxious. Like imagine if you were at work filling out an Excel spreadsheet and someone is like literally screaming in your face. It's tough. It's my job to take the patient's side. They're my patient and they're giving birth, and that's a really stressful. So I am totally willing to escort someone out of the room, to escort someone off the floor. I will be your bouncer because you are in labor and you deserve somebody like that. We will not have any yelling or saying whack things like, I'm gonna take this baby. Nope. You just bought yourself a ticket out of here. I want the mom to feel safe, and I want the baby to be safe. So if you're not going to encourage that environment, you have to go. Have any of your patients had a doula? Yes, I had a patient with a doula recently, and it was phenomenal. She came in when the patient was probably like 3 centimeters into her induction. The patient had been getting sick, was crying in pain, just absolutely miserable, and we're trying everything we can do to make her feel better. And this doula came in and just changed the whole room around and made it really nice and calming. She had all these different aromatherapy things and was using olive oil to massage the patient, and it really helped her calm down and to progress faster. So I have decided I definitely want a doula the next time I have a kid. How did you learn to read strips? I find them so hard. They're still hard. We take fetal monitoring classes that helps us a lot. Really, you just have to be on the unit and watching 7 different strips at the same time to learn what everything means. There's YouTube videos that you can watch that'll teach you you like what different D cells are or how to interpret what everything means. There's the expression gill chop, and I'll put on the screen what those stand for. Pretty much what we're watching for is variability in the baby's heart rate. So making sure that the baby's heart rate isn't just staying like one stagnant number. That's a bad sign. We want it to go up and down like real scratchy. And then we don't want any big dips. That can be an indication that the baby's in distress. We want happy little accelerations. I call them happy hills. So it's all scratchy and then it goes up, and all scratchy and it goes up. But the problem with that is sometimes it's on your interpretation. Like, is it actually going down? So you have to know what your baby's baseline heart rate is, and it takes practice. I've been doing it for 7 months now, and I still sometimes I'm like not so sure what I'm looking at. And that's just one part of it, because you also have to look at the contraction monitor, and you want mom to be getting a full minute of rest between each contraction. A contraction is like dunking your baby underwater. Their oxygenation dips during it. That's fine as long as they have a chance to recover between. But if you're dunking someone's head underwater over and over and over and not giving them a chance to catch their breath, they're not going to do as well. So it's really a two-part thing. Advice for a new grad starting out in OB. Oh man, I have a whole list. I was going to make a video about that. Some quick ones are, if your patient's nauseous, give them alcohol pads to smell, because that can really help. I mean, ultimately you might need an order for Zofran, but it can kind of buy you some time until the doctor puts that order in. Never trust a multip. So someone who's had multiple deliveries before, don't trust them. Even if they're 4 centimeters, they can have a baby 20 minutes later. Now, a first-time mom, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be a few hours or days, but I have had moms who were 5 centimeters and then 10 minutes later, they're 10. Like, they just go so quick sometimes. Not everybody. Sometimes multips take days for an induction or a labor process too, but just in general, don't trust them. Like, if you think, oh, they'll be okay for a little bit, stay close and watch your strip to see if there's like head compression going on or if that baby is looking like it's on its way out. Another tip would be, when you ask someone to watch your strip, like when you go to the bathroom or go to get food, make sure you ask someone who A, is actually going to watch your strip, and B, is having a pretty easy assignment, because if their baby is decelling all over the place, they can't also be watching your strip. You don't want your baby to have a big decel while you're gone and you can't intervene and help that baby. That's something that everybody has to learn. What nursing gadgets do you need on the floor? I really like having a Sarah study. So when my patients who have had an epidural, when they're kind of in that in-between where they can support themselves but they can't quite fully walk on their own, we can help stand them up with it and roll them over to the bathroom so that they can use the bathroom the first time. I also really like having the peanut balls, because that can really help a mom who has an epidural or just a mom who's going natural progress farther. Something I want to get for our unit is one of those bundle birth position guides to help moms who are just not dilating, or they have like an asynclitic baby where the back of the baby's head isn't on the cervix. It's kind of like the side of the baby's head, and the cervix won't dilate then, and it just kind of goes sideways and the baby ends up usually in a C-section. Those position guides can really help us turn moms and help the baby get into the right position. I've been meaning to buy one and I just haven't yet. Advice for new L&D nurses who have experience in other specialties: use your experience to change the way things are done on the floor. If you used to do something on your old unit that you think would be helpful on your new unit, try suggesting it. Sometimes the way that people hang antibiotics on med-surg units is very different than we do in labor and delivery. I've actually learned that I like the way they do it on med-surg better, so I've started doing that on my unit. The Sarah study came from a travel nurse, actually. We had a nurse who went and traveled at another hospital, and she came back and she really liked that they had Sarah studies, and now we use them all the time. Using your resources and not being afraid to ask for help. What do you wish someone would have told you before starting labor and delivery? Let me think about that. Okay, something I wish someone would have told me, but thankfully I felt pretty okay with, is labor and delivery nursing is a ton of breastfeeding education. And thankfully I have breastfed a baby before. I still am breastfeeding a toddler. I would say 90 to 95% of our patients exclusively breastfeed on my unit. I've had maybe 5 times ever where a mom is strictly bottle feeding, because we really encourage breastfeeding. Less than 2% of women physically can't breastfeed, but up to 45% of women who don't breastfeed say that they would have if they had more support. We have 24-hour lactation that's not pushy, just very helpful, and you can call them from your own room phone and they don't make a big deal out of it, even if you told them I was not interested in it at all. If you call them, they will come and no judgment help you. They'll help you every single feed. I've spent a lot of time with them learning their tips and tricks for how to get a sleepy baby latched. Because most of our moms breastfeed, I find that a lot of the new grads on our unit don't know what to do, and we have have to have documented education done before we can give formula because we're a baby-friendly hospital. And just because of the better outcomes of breastfed babies, we have to be kind of like working towards that. So that would be something I would really look into, is doing some research, like going on YouTube and watching some IBCLC videos on how to get a sleepy baby latched, different latching positions, and trying to shadow a lactation consultant. I love answering your guys' questions. I try to answer them in the comments whenever you guys pop up with them. I really try to answer comments in real time if I'm on my phone. Another question someone asked was they'd like to know what my opinions are on home or natural birth. I love the idea of a home or natural birth with a healthy patient. I see no reason why a healthy patient shouldn't have the birth that they want. I know of people who have successful home births and it goes so well, and it's such an amazing experience for them. That being said, most of the women that I care for at my hospital are very sick outside of being pregnant. They have a lot of comorbidities. The baby's a lot more susceptible to having problems because of that. A lot of our moms have uncontrolled diabetes, so these babies are like 11 pounds, or the babies come out and then because the mom's been on insulin the whole pregnancy, the baby's blood sugar just tanks afterwards and they will not latch, they will not take a bottle, and they end up needing NG feedings. We have a lot of moms who, as soon as their labor starts, their blood pressure ends up near the 200 systolic range and they are going into organ failure, and that is just them going into labor on their own. I tried to go to a birth center with both of my pregnancies. I lost triplets and then I had my son successfully, but my son has one kidney. He was measuring 10 pounds a week early and was 10 pounds a week early. I ended up needing a lot of help with my delivery of my son. I really don't know if I could have had him at home. It was really, really touch and go for a long time, and I was able to have him, but I risked out of the birth center both times. Another question was, if I could change one thing about what I do, what would it be? I would have more moms have doulas, because I think in labor, the pain is so extremely intense, especially if you have to be induced for medical reasons. If you can get a doula to help keep your attention and to help get you through that pain, if you want a natural delivery, I think a lot less of our moms would end up with epidurals, because they come in with their partner who doesn't know what to do, which why would they? And the partner sits on the couch terrified, and the mom cries and screams in pain. You can only do that for so long. We have moms whose labors last 36, 48 hours. You have to do something. You can't do that anymore. When you have adrenaline pumping through your system, it's hard to dilate because your body is thinking, we gotta go, we gotta run, we're scared, like this is bad, it's not the time to have a baby. And adrenaline works against oxytocin, which is the natural hormone that helps you go into labor. I think if we had a doula to help keep that adrenaline down for every patient, things would move a lot smoother. I think that's everything. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me and getting us to 4,000. I just can't believe it. Can't believe that we'll be at 5,000 within the next week. You guys are the best part of this. I love answering your guys' questions and feeling like I'm making a difference. I've gotten so many DMs of people saying that they watched my How to Get Hired on Labor and Delivery video and now they're working on labor and delivery, or they watched my NCLEX video and changed the way they were studying and they passed in 75 questions. That stuff is addicting. It makes me want to do this full time for the rest of my life. I love helping people. I feel like I didn't have a ton of help, and like being able to do that for people is amazing. And let me know in the comments if there's a different type of video you guys want to see. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.